Henry VIII was born on June 28, 1491, in the Palace of Placentia in Greenwich. He was the second son of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York, a union that ended the Wars of the Roses. As a child, Henry was not expected to become king, living a relatively carefree life. His older brother, Arthur, was the heir to the throne, groomed for kingship from a young age. But fate had other plans for young Henry, altering the course of his destiny. In 1502, Arthur died unexpectedly, leaving a void in the line of succession. This tragic event changed Henry's life forever, thrusting him into the spotlight. He was now the heir to the English throne, a role he had never anticipated. Henry's father made sure he was well prepared for his future role, emphasizing his education. He received a good education, learning languages, music and sports, becoming a well-rounded individual. In 1509, Henry VII died, marking the end of an era. Henry became King Henry VIII at the age of 17, ready to take on the responsibilities of the crown. The people of England were excited about their new king, hoping for a bright future under his rule. Henry VIII is famous for having 6 wives, each with a unique story. His first wife was Catherine of Aragon, the widow of his brother Arthur. They married in 1509 and had a daughter, Mary, who would later become queen. But Henry wanted a son to be his heir, a male successor to the throne. When Catherine couldn't give him a son, he looked for a way out of the marriage, seeking an annulment. Anne Boleyn became Henry's second wife in 1533. She gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth, who would become one of England's greatest monarchs. But Anne was executed in 1536. Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, gave him a son, Edward, but tragically died shortly after childbirth. Henry considered Jane his true love and mourned her deeply. His fourth marriage to Anne of Cleves was annulled quickly, lasting only a few months. Catherine Howard, his fifth wife, was executed for adultery in 1542, a scandalous end. His last wife, Catherine Parr, outlived him and helped raise his children, ensuring their future. Henry's desire for a male heir led to a big change in England. He wanted to end his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, but the Pope wouldn't allow it. In 1534, Henry declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England. This meant breaking away from the Catholic Church. England was no longer under the Pope's authority. Henry closed down monasteries all over England, taking their wealth for himself. This period is known as the dissolution of the monasteries. The country became Protestant, a big shift in worship and belief. This also changed England's relationship with other countries in Europe. The creation of the Church of England was a major event. The king, not the Pope, was now in charge. English was used in services instead of Latin, making it easier for people to understand. Henry allowed some changes to religious practices but still believed in many Catholic ideas. This made the Church of England a mix of old and new. The new church faced many challenges, including rebellions. Despite the problems, the Church of England grew stronger over time. One big change was the translation of the Bible into English, allowing more people to read it for themselves. This had a big impact on how people understood their faith and helped spread literacy in England. Henry's break with Rome had big effects on English politics. The king now had more power than ever before. The dissolution of the monasteries led to big changes in land ownership. Henry gave or sold much of the land to nobles and rich merchants, creating a new class of landowners. Henry also made changes to the government, creating new offices and departments. He worked to strengthen England's defenses, building new ships for the Navy and constructing coastal forts. Education saw changes under Henry, with new schools founded to replace the monasteries. Henry VIII died on January 28, 1547. He had ruled England for almost 38 years, a period marked by significant changes. His reign left a lasting mark on English history, influencing many aspects of the nation. The changes he made continued to shape the country long after his death, affecting future generations. His break with Rome set England on a new path, altering its religious landscape forever. Henry's children all became rulers of England, each leaving their own mark. First was his son Edward VI, who continued his father's reforms. Then his daughter Mary I tried to return England to Catholicism, facing many challenges. Finally, Elizabeth I established Protestantism firmly in England, securing its future. The Church of England that Henry created still exists today, a testament to his influence. It continues to be an important part of English culture and identity, shaping the nation's values. Henry's reign marked the end of medieval England and the beginning of the modern era, a pivotal shift. His actions set England on the path to becoming a Protestant nation, with lasting effects. This would have big effects on England's role in world affairs in the centuries to come, shaping its destiny. Henry VIII may have been looking for a son, but he ended up changing the course of history in ways he could never have imagined.